Hiya, it's another fingernail fixer video. We are going to do some pop art in this video. To start off with, you're going to want a really small detail or short striping brush. And I've polished this nail with 2 coats of C&D brand shellac in Cream Puff. Now I'm going to use some Lush Tropics in C&D brand shellac to create the wording for my pop art. Pop art is basically comic book style art, and the simplest design in my opinion is the wording. So we're just going to use the word POW. It's nice and short and simple. You want to apply your shellac thin. We'll come back in and get full color coverage in a second coat. When you're doing curves or circles, it's easier to get a good curve if you pull the brush towards you. So for the O, we're going to start at the top and bring it down to the bottom. And then when you do the W, instead of going up and down like you would write it, pull each of the lines down towards you, and you'll find that you get smoother lines because you're pulling the brush towards you. Once we have our word in, I'm just going to set it in the lamp quick for 10 seconds so that my word doesn't move while I'm working on everything else, or so if I accidentally touch it, I don't mess it up. Once you've cured that for 10 seconds, we want to come in and do the exclamation around the word. Just going to use a contrasting color. In this instance, I'm using C&D brand shellac in Bicycle Yellow. I'm going to use the same small detail brush and just start making zigzags out around the word. It's easiest to work from the center out so that you're not as likely to touch what you've already laid down. And just like with the W, these lines are going to be easier to make even if you pull the brush towards you as you polish and use small amounts on your brush. If you get a lot of polish on the brush, you'll find that the lines will be thicker and that you will not have as much control. And just start curving around. This is going to be your exclamation bubble around the word. Continuing to pull the brush towards you and trying to bring the points to a slight point. If the nail is small enough, your word may go off the edges, and that's fine. Just run along the edge envisioning what it would look like if it connected. I personally tend to work better left to right. If you're left-handed, you may work better right to left. I'm just coming in and curving that exclamation bubble around the word. If you should mess up one of your lines, if it gets a little too thick or if you place it wrong in your spacing, you can really gently wipe it off with a brush and a small amount of isopropyl alcohol. Or if it's an extremely small detail that you need to fix, you could use a dry stylus or marbling tool to clean up the line. For example, if I get this one kind of out over here to the side, I could just take my marbling tool and swipe across that to bring it back to a point and clean it up. Once I'm finished with that color, I'm going to pick a second color. In this instance, I chose to use C&D brand shellac in Cerulean Sea. And we're going to repeat the bubble, just kind of going with the lines that you established in the first one, except further out. And you may need a couple brush strokes to make the line slightly thick. And I'm going to come back from my original lines and pick up some of the excess shellac that I sat down. Just working my way around. Then come in and mimic the bottom lines. Again, usually pulling the brush towards me, because that's generally the easiest way it will smooth over. And once you have that in place, we're going to put that in the lamp for 2 minutes to cure. Now that that's cured, you can see we don't have full color coverage. So we're going to come in and start with our word and just go back over everything with a second coat to make sure it's nice and bright and vibrant. That's one of the great things about pop art, is it's very vibrant. It's really noticeable on the nails. It's generally really bright colors, so the C&D Paradise collection really lends itself to pop art. I'm just cleaning my brush in between colors with a little bit of isopropyl alcohol. And for those of you that need to know, the brush that I'm using is part of the 6-piece set with the little screw-on lids from Atwood Industries. This is the medium size striping or detail brush that's in that little set. I'm just making sure that even though I'm going back over the color, I'm still keeping it thin so that my lines don't wrinkle. You also want to make sure that the points in your exclamation bubbles are nice and crisp on this second coat, so that when you come in with your detail lines next, you'll have a point to go to for your outline. And just go back over that whole thing, getting your second coat of color in there so you've got full color coverage and you don't have your little lines. When you're finished, pop that in the lamp for 2 minutes and you're ready for the next step. Now that we have that cured, we're ready to come in with the outlines, and I'm going to graduate up to a slightly longer detail brush so that I can get super thin lines. The trick to using a striping brush and getting a thin line, is gentle pressure. So I'm going to come in, and actually I think I'm going to use a tiny detail brush on the words so that I can really get in to the O and the inside of the P without having too much shellac for the tiny lines. So I'm going to start with a tiny detail brush. And again, this is just part of that set from Atwood. I'm going to use C&D brand shellac in Black Pool to outline the letters really carefully, making sure that the lines are very, very thin. Just continue outlining everything in black with your small striping brush. The less pressure you put on the brush, the thinner the line is going to be, so that you get that really cool comic book outline look. And naturally, if you have a really steady hand, you could do all of this in a smaller stroke, and you could get more on the nail. Once you finish outlining everything in the black, pop it in the lamp to cure for 2 minutes. Bring it out, add your C&D brand shellac top coat, cure for 2 minutes, and you're finished with your pop art nail. Have fun. Thanks for watching.